Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review we are looking at the Marvel Legends Death's Head 2 figure from the second wave of Guardians of the Galaxy Legends this year. This is a figure that many people have wanted for a long time, or at least a character, and they finally made one, so that's pretty cool. It does do some things pretty well, and it has some kind of weird issues to go with it, so there's going to be a little bit to talk about, so it's kind of exciting. We get a new character, and we have some good things, so let's go ahead and get him off the stand and take a closer look. The first thing to note about this guy is his size. He stands about 7 3/4 inches tall, which makes him pretty large. That's about 19, probably closer to 20 centimeters. So definitely a little bit of stature. So that's pretty cool. It's fairly accurate to the drawings for him. He generally has much broader shoulders, and so it makes his head look a little bit smaller in proportion. But aside from that issue with the not quite so much of a V shape for his torso, proportionally speaking, he looks pretty good. The head might sit a little high, but not really. I think it's fine. I think it's just the way they sculpt their torsos that makes it look like that. So no real issues there. We have seen most of these parts before on that Colossus figure. So, if you liked it, then you might like this one. If you didn't, you may not like this one. Definitely a little bit weird in the sculpt for the torso. It looks like just kind of potbelly-ish. Not really, but there's something off about those abs. Anyway, we do have a lot of new sculpt, so that's cool. This forearm is new because Colossus had those gauntlets on there. And then obviously this whole lower arm is new. New head, which I think is the standout part of this guy. He's got a really, really nice head sculpt, and they mostly did a good job painting it. You can see throughout the jaw area, the exposed jaw area, there's a little bit of shading. The teeth are done well enough. The eyes painted cleanly, and just looks very nice overall, so that's pretty cool. It's a bit of a bummer for me that his hair wasn't connected properly when it was glued in, so I'm going to either have to try to pull that out and then re-glue it, or just leave it the way it is because I can't push it in there anymore. But the hair does have shading on it. Looks like it's molded, shaded, and then covered with metallic, so that's kind of cool. We have this new little belt or crotch piece, cod piece, which has the same kind of shading as the hair. This is metallic, so that's pretty cool. The paintwork on the forearm is clean right here, so that's a good thing. They did a really nice job shading this arm, so that's a good thing. The shin armor is painted pretty well. I guess they're straps, maybe they're armor, I don't know. They're painted pretty well. These pieces that glue in, not the best. Unless they're supposed to be all haphazard-like, I'm not sure. I can't find a clear image of that in the comics or online for the comics. So I don't know, they're kind of like just all over the place. Not sure if that's intentional. It's kind of a bummer if it's not, and I'm kind of thinking it's not. We do have one accessory. I don't need to take a photo of it because it's just a hand. We have another hand right here. So you get the fist hand and then the one where he's kind of pointing, or it's a trigger finger hand. I'm not sure. I know he's like a bounty hunter type guy, so I don't know. Maybe that's iconic hand for some reason, but I don't know. So here's the issue I have with this guy. Other than the general, I'm not so sure about the torso kind of thing. The shading of this metallic blue over the dark blue on the thighs, it's kind of just right here on the two quads, but it's kind of fairly well shaded, so it looks okay. We do have a little bit of it on the shoulders, so that's okay. Even on the neck, it's done pretty well, and on the chest, it's okay. But then we have some right here on the torso where it's just like two spots on his abs, and it doesn't look great. And I don't know, I kind of get why they did it, because for his drawings, most of him is like normal blue, and then he's got the metallic that kind of shades or fades off into the blue. So I feel like this should have been like faded more, but maybe not. Maybe there's a new way they're coloring him up now. At least that's the way I remember it. So I don't know. It doesn't look terrible, so that's okay. You have more of that shading right here, but nowhere else on the back. But mostly looks pretty good. So I guess that's all right. I mean, it seems like it could be a lot cleaner, maybe a little bit more accurate. I'm not that familiar with the character, to be honest. Never really saw the appeal of this character other than it's just a crazy looking character. Anyway, let's talk about the articulation. The head can rotate, no problem at all. These hair pieces are nice and soft, so no issues there. Can look all the way forward if you want him to. He can go not really so far back. His hair is just too thick, not going to work. Shoulders, it looks like they're not going to be able to go, and they can't if you don't try, but if you do give it a little bit of effort and just kind of wiggle it around, you can kind of tuck that in, and then you can raise the arm up to the side. So just be aware of that. This piece is going to get mushed up, so it's not really ideal, but that's the way it is. The arm does rotate all the way around. We have our bicep swivel, which does work, but he's got really big triceps, so it won't work unless you raise the arm up a little bit. Single jointed elbow. Let's see how far that bends. You pretty much get 90, so that's pretty good. And then the wrist is, of course, a peg with a swivel, or a peg with a hinge, so that's a swivel and a hinge. Same thing on this side, except for the wrist part, because he doesn't have a wrist. And then for the ab crunch, he can lean one notch back, and it's okay. It does create a little bit more of a pot belly effect. And then you can go 2 steps forward, and he does lean over pretty well, which is a good thing for a tall character, so I like that. His hips, let's see how his hips work. Going out to the side, we get about 45, which is definitely good enough for a bulky guy like this. Going forward, almost all the way forward, that's probably okay. They don't go back so far. We do have our thigh swivel built in, so that's nice. And we have our double jointed knee, which gives us as much of a full bend as we can ask for, so that is a good thing. I do like that they hid the shin swivel on this guy. I'm not the biggest fan of a shin swivel in general unless it's hidden, and in this case it is, so I like that. And the reason I like them when they're hidden is because they afford a crooked ankle rocker to work properly. You can rotate the leg a little bit. Now granted, it's not hidden perfectly here, but it's well enough. And so that gives you a perfectly square ankle rocker by rotating that shin. So I like that a whole bunch. So you saw the ankle rocker, and then we do have the hinge in the ankle. Doesn't go that far forward really at all, and then you can go back pretty much as far as you want. So ultimately, is it a perfect figure? No. Maybe a couple questionable paint issues with the metallic, but otherwise it's particularly good looking. I like it. I'm not 100% sold on the sculpt here, but it's definitely okay. It's not anywhere near as bad as the Hyperion sculpt, so I can definitely live with this, and I think most people are going to agree with me. Plus, his head sculpt is just fantastic, so I like that a whole bunch, so I do recommend it. Thanks a lot, guys, for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I have new videos up every single day. We talk about action figures, movies, TV shows, video games, and all kinds of other fun stuff, so make sure you come back for that. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, and in the meantime, keep collecting.